Yeah. From the first word spoken to the last amen. Look, day one, I believe in the Father, maker of the heavens and the holler. Seen things unseen in the silence, whole world in his hands, that's balance. Light, land, oceans in order, skylines stretch past borders. Every breath, every law that's written came from the mind that isn't limited by minutes or distant. Feminine wisdom, perfect existence, one throne, no rubble in the system. Alpha in the code, I listen. We believe, say it out loud. One God, one Son, one Spirit in the crowd. From the throne to the grave, then he rose in three. Whole church stand up, this is our creed. We believe, heart on sleeve. Every line in my soul like ink that bleed. From the first I believe to the last, amen. That's the truth we stand on. Say it again. Only one sin, true God, true flesh, that's intent. Born from a woman, promised in the womb, royal in the manger, glory in the gloom. Walked dust, felt hunger in the heat, love wore sandals in the street. Spoke life, storm, heard wind, froze, touch of his hand, blind eyes rose. For I say, took the blame, that's sentence. Cross on his back, that's penance. Laid in the grave, don't shut dark deep. Third day, sun up, death fell asleep. Lifted up, backseated with the Father. All things under him, why bother? Running from grace when the gate wide, he'll come blazing. Judge day, no size. We believe, hey. Say it out loud. One God, one Son, one Spirit in the crowd. From the throne to the grave, then he rose in three. Whole church stand up, this is our creed. We believe, heart on sleeve. Every line in my soul, I ink that bleeds. From the first I believe to the last, amen. That's the truth we stand on. Say it again. I believe in the Spirit, breathe in the lungs. Fire in the room when the praise gets sung. Oh yeah. Prophets write songs, holy, holy sets us apart. One church, one hope, one birth. Forgiveness reigning on this earth. Grace gonna crack when he calls our names. New life, new body, no shame. We believe. Say it out loud. One God, one Son, one Spirit in the crowd. From the throne to the grave, then he rose in three. Whole church stand up, this is our creed. We believe, heart on sleeve. Every line in my soul like ink that bleeds. From the first I believe to the last, amen. That's the truth we stand on. Say it again.
Well.
So you have a show for me? Oh my goodness. I went 57.
I have no idea what you're saying, dude.
Can you hear me?
I can now, yeah.
Okay. I went 57 and a 30 to get here.
Nice. So welcome to the Call to Defend live stream. I'm back after 2 weeks of being gone.
I know. The hair follicle count on average has dropped significantly.
Actually, I went in for a haircut and she said some of it has been coming back. So.
Oh, that's so much funnier than you wanted it to be.
And let's see. We are trying something new today. Well, either Caleb's frozen or I'm frozen. Oh, Caleb's gone. All right. Well, we are trying something new today. We have also gone live on our Instagram, trying to find a way to get TikTok to cooperate. Because I know there's a lot of people do live there. I might be able to get it to work for a future live, where we do a call-in show. Maybe I can get that up there. So I'm going to do a lot of call-in stuff in there. Or maybe I'll have to do a share screen. Oh no, Caleb and I will figure it out. By Caleb and I mean I, because Caleb, if you saw his thumbnails, you know that was rough. Anyways, so He's gone, I guess. Yeah, he's not even in my queue anymore. So yeah, I'm back. I've been gone for a couple weeks. I was not doing anything work related, literally my job or for here. I went on a vacation, like a 2-week sabbatical, and I told Caleb that I'm not doing editing, I'm not streaming, I'm just going to be out. And he said, and he agreed that that was totally fair. Because I was out with his family and girlfriend and stuff. Here he is. So, but we're back, and now Caleb's officially maybe back, maybe staying, maybe not.
My placing of my pillow behind my back hit my camera and weirdly turned it off, and like shut down my entire device for a second. So I had to leave, fix that, and come back.
I was just saying that one, I was explaining while I was gone, and two, I was saying that we are trying something new today. That I have our Instagram connected today. To see if if we can find some more people to share stuff with. I'd like to eventually, heads up to anyone who's watching, there's a chance if I either can get TikTok or Facebook working that there might be a couple streams where Apologia is down live stream wise for a bit. Because we're already streaming once on YouTube, and then Apologia can be more of a clips channel. So be aware that that's a possibility. It's not official. I have to get one of those two to cooperate because they're both not cooperating right now. I'd like to get TikTok cooperating if we ever do another call-in stream, because that definitely has a lot of that happens a lot over there, and so we might be able to get a little more out of it. YouTube can be finicky at times when it comes to that. But anyways, Caleb's gone again. We are going to be looking at a video that I think we about, for me, I guess was 3 weeks ago. So 5 streams ago, I think was the last one I was here for. We watched clips from IP's live stream where they were sharing about the event that happened in DC that was kind of under wraps, keeping it a little bit on the down low, looking at the question of, is Islam, does it fit with the Constitution? Does it contradict it? Caleb and I, of course, shared our brief thoughts, and I got to watch part of the video. I didn't get through all of it, which is fine. Caleb goes in blind most of the time anyway, so it gives us both time to react a little bit. I do know at least part of the structure now, so I was able to get through about half of it. And so the clips we got to see was IP's kind of like opening statement type of thing that he did on his side of the panel. So I don't know if we're going to really revisit that. We did that the last stream I was here for. If you guys wanted to see that, you can go back there. If Caleb needs a refresher, we could probably watch part of it. I do have it pulled up on the side. But I was kind of thinking more of looking at the Muslim arguments that they will be making regarding why they think it fits the Constitution. And then I think they have 3 people. 2, I think there are Muslims. I think one's a supporter of Islam, I think. And then they have a little more of a back and forth. And so that's where we get to see IP get a little more of a shine. If you're one of those who like 360 videos, if you watch on your phone, when that's the video where she's the one to record the video that we're watching, she did do a 360 version. So if you want to see the whole room, do it on your phone. I don't know if the computer can do that. I don't remember. And I know Caleb for a fact won't know it because he's far more of a caveman than probably almost as much as our pastor, who's very caveman too. But yeah, so that's where we're at.
I put together like 4 terribly edited thumbnails. So
Yeah, they were something, all right. I think all of them were the same one photo, but with really bad edits done to it.
Yes, they were. Yes, it was. It was a screen grab from the last stream we had done together, and then every one of them was just me putting like clip art over top of it. I'm just happy I got to call you gay in one of them.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just not going to even deal with this right now. All right. So, like I said, we are going to be looking at primarily, I think, the start, kind of looking at the opening statement, quote unquote. It isn't a debate. It's almost like a panel discussion kind of thing where they provide statements and then they kind of share back and forth. So it's kind of a debate, kind of not a debate in the way it's structured. It's not like you're watching no, not IP. Let's not do that one. God Logic and Jake Brancatello, where you had like there was like time segments of like this point is this point is this. There's a little bit of that, but it's not nearly as formalized in that. It seems more like it's supposed to be like a discussion, almost open dialogue-esque. At least in the segments I did get to watch. But I figure we at least start with the opening statements of the two Muslims that kind of share theirs. I'm gonna tell you outright, they didn't really address the question.
Not that surprising.
And they spent a whole lot. The non-Muslims spent a whole lot more time quoting the Quran than the Muslims did.
Also, not that surprising.
No, it was just kind of funny. But, anyways, so that's what we're gonna be looking at. Is that little bit right there?
Well, hang on.
I'll remove it
because that is not the only IP video that we're going to be watching today.
Oh, we're watching the pitch meeting.
Oh yeah.
Are we starting with that?
I will leave that up to you. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, let's do that one later.
Okay.
We'll do that as a little, hey, if you held on long enough, you get to watch this with us. Otherwise, people who are seeing the thumbnail are going to actually want to see what we're actually talking about.
Yeah. But also, we're talking about the Constitution tonight. I has it.
Nice. I have it.
Pocket version.
Where's my...
I have my pocket version.
Where's my... I redid my bookshelf.
Perfect union.
Where is it? I'll find it eventually. Oh wait, it's under G. That's why. There it is.
Under G?
Because I have my copy that I have in here is in the back of a book that was on law, and so it's in the back of that book. Whereas my other one is elsewhere. I redid my entire bookshelf too. I removed so many books. Some of them I just put into storage that I want to keep them for future stuff, and some of them I was like, I gotta decide I'm going to keep you. Period. So be on the lookout, guys. And by guys, I mean I'm probably going to drop off a donation center. It probably won't be me saying, hey, hit me up and I'll send you a book. Speaking of which, if you want to hit us up, join our Discord. That's down below for the YouTube followers. Instagram, if anyone's watching Instagram right now, that's going to be probably in our bio, but you also can just DM us on Instagram and I'll send it to you. All right, so let's start with this. This is the panel. This is, like I said, a panel where they're discussing whether or not Islam is compatible with the Constitution. Probably a little more of Bill of Rights, at least that's the direction IP took it, if we recall from the last stream that I was here for. Which, not totally unrelated, but still, that was more of the points that he was arguing around. So we'll look at that. We'll at least look at these two, and then we'll skip ahead a little bit. We'll keep track of time, so I know Caleb wants to watch his video as well. I mean, at certain points, though, you just kind of hear conversations. You're like, okay, it's the same conversation we hear every single day. That's more the point. But let's at least kind of get to the actual discussion. So this is, I'll at least get the introduction for this guy here.
It's not coming through very clearly.
It's okay.
Or I miss his name.
This is to explain their background.
That. What'd you say?
Oh, I might be on a delay then, because it's coming through very choppily for me, and it took you a second to answer the question.
The video?
Yeah.
There's a chance we'll have to switch whose screen we're using. because everyone's using the internet right now in my building, which is annoying.
We will begin with you, if that is okay. And we're gonna have to speak very loudly without the microphone.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do it. I keep seeing my StreamYard like glitching out internet wise. Sorry guys. I love it when everyone's on the internet at the same time. I'll even send you the link. Anyways, well, that's getting switched over. All right. Let's see. So we're doing Islam in preparation for the fact that we're going to a conference in Ohio. Be on the lookout. It'll probably be one of our longest streams ever because we'll be streaming from the car. We'll be doing some stuff while we're there, recording. And by recording, I mean I need to actually remember to bring recording things to do on-the-spot video work. Speaking of which, I gotta record some stuff this week, and I gotta finish editing your videos from the past couple weeks. The nice thing is I have content for the next month. The problem is I have to do it all before we go to Ohio. But here, let's do this. While I've made a thing on our Discord. There's I recently read this book. If you're looking for something philosophical to read, this is The Rational Ontological Argument by Dr. Joshua Sijiwadi. It's his argument for modality. If you know what that means he's dealing with the philosophy of necessity and possibilities. And so he develops his own model of possible worlds. It's called the RMR. I think it's the Rational Modal Realism. And then he uses that to develop his rational ontological argument, of which I think is fairly compelling. I'm still trying to think through the RMR. And then we had a person in our Discord who is an atheist, so recommend this work, Reason and Morality by Alan DeWorth, of which I just got today. I will be reading in preparation for next month. And I think Caleb and I are going to be doing a different kind of video where we're going to kind of work through some of the argument of this book. And it's kind of share with you like some of the basically kind of give you like a verbal version of the kind of conversations we're going to have in our Discord, while also providing some interesting content for you guys that hopefully sharpens you and challenges you if you are an atheist, or strengthens you if you are a Christian. And so be on the lookout for those. If you have other things you want us to kind of go through, just go to our Discord. Again, that's in our description for YouTube. It's in our bio for Instagram. And if it's for some reason not working, just hit me up and I'll get it to you via Instagram. But we will, we'll get papers and books like this if you want us to kind of review them, or videos, and we'll give our 2 cents on it, and whether or not it debunks Christianity, if it supports Christianity by accident, or whatever the case is.
Cool. All right, what am I skipping to in terms of timestamp here?
Really? He starts around the 1:23.5 mark is when he gets to the podium, I think. From the first speaker. They're saying that you can't hear him with their microphone, but they have clip-ons for recording purposes.
Gotcha. All right, here we go.
Yep.
Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all for coming. So this doesn't work.
Doesn't work. You have to speak loudly.
Oh no.
Like you're preaching to a congregation.
Okay, so I'll do my best to speak loudly. I'm soft-spoken usually. I don't like shouting. Nor do my kids, so I'm okay with them. So I am Muhammad Amin Kawadir. I am the founder, president of Muslim College, which is licensed to offer master's degrees in Islamic law, Islamic theology, situated in the western suburbs of Chicago, Glen Ellen. And we have quite a few students on our campuses, and we're doing quite well. I'm also the president of Al-Amin Ethics Institute, which advises Muslim professionals on ethics. I'm also now the founder of Dar al-Qasim Academy, it's a Muslim girls' high school. So now I have these three occupations running side by side. And I'm here today to talk about Islam and the US Constitution. And hopefully, if you bear with me.
Sir, you need to speak loud.
I'm trying. There you go. My savior.
No, that's Jesus.
Hello? Does this work? No.
Got him.
This is Washington. Nothing works.
Yeah, typical Washington. I don't know what channel is that. He's going to go get another mic.
You can skip this part.
And answers later on in the session. First of all, introducing one or two theories so that it sets up the stage for your questions and answers later on in the session, hopefully, inshallah. So the first thing is I want to introduce the idea of self-determination for the sovereign state, which you all know is a very common theory, and all sovereign nations abide by it, that every nation has the right to self-determination, legislate its own laws without the interference of other countries. So, you know, England has its laws, or UK has its laws, and Canada has its laws, and India has its laws, and Saudi Arabia has its laws, and Pakistan has its laws. That's called self-determination, and they have freedom to do that, and they have the prerogative to now decide how they want to rule and govern the country. And no other country has any right to interfere with their law. And I dare say that this is observed by George Washington in the very early days of his presidency. George Washington and the early founders were very familiar with Islamic law. In fact, the first country to acknowledge and approve the US as an independent country is Morocco. And George Washington wrote to the ambassador in Morocco that if an American citizen is found guilty of a crime in Morocco, that citizen will be tried according to Moroccan law and not according to American law. So you see that immediately you have sovereign nation, self-determination coming into place because everybody values that.
Something kind of stood out to me there. Firstly, that the first recognition of the United States is by a Muslim country, right? That's effectively the claim. I will point out also the first set of nations that, or I guess really the one specific nation that America officially fights in a war in and against is an Islamic nation, right? It's the war against the Barbary pirates in Somalia.
Mm-hmm.
So, sure, I mean, good on Morocco, I guess, for being the first to recognize this as a nation, although I would argue Britain probably, surrendering the land to the colonists was like, they may not have said, okay, you're a nation now, but I mean, if Britain doesn't own that territory,
nope,
somebody does. And the surrender of the land to the colonists, who now have sovereignty over it. Well, you're talking about sovereign nations. Okay, well, there you go. There's an implicit understanding that they are, what's the word I'm looking for? They're a sovereign, independent nation.
Yeah, it doesn't also really address the point at all about whether or not it fits the Constitution. It's like,
no.
it's like, great, this other country recognized it. And?
Yeah, exactly. And to even say like, oh, well, he said he'd be tried under Moroccan law. Right. Because the crime was committed in Morocco.
That's how that works.
If a Moroccan were to commit a crime in America, he would be tried under American law because he's in America. That's not an endorsement of Islamic law. That's just an understanding, as he's pretty much pointing out in the speech, of how sovereign nations work.
Right.
So that's the first thing. So the U.S. had good ties with Morocco, and even Jefferson, what was his name, Lincoln. Lincoln had a very good relationship with the Muslim communities outside, and he praised one of the Muslim reformers and activists, Abdul Qadir, and they named a town in Iowa after him. It's called Abdul Qadir. The name of the town is Abdul Qadir. So early pioneers of this country were very familiar with Muslim theory, ideology, and politics. They were okay with them. There was no antagonism between.
Haul up there, dog. Praising individual Muslims does not equal a wholehearted, full-throated endorsement of Islamic law, of Sharia law. Because for as much as you want to say, oh, the founders really liked Islam, yeah, they like Christianity just a wee bit more. Insofar as, John Jay was one of the biggest advocates of Christian influence in the Christian government, and he's the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. John Adams famously has the quote, our Constitution is made for a upright and religious people. It will function. It is wholly inadequate to function for any other. I got there.
You got there eventually.
George Washington, in his personal letters, praised Christianity, established Christianity many, many times. Right? Thomas Jefferson, though a deist himself, recognized that entrenched established religion was important. Every single state constitution mentions religion in some way and an official state religion therein. So when people say, oh, well, the First Amendment applies to the federal government, not the states. The states can absolutely declare a state religion, and no state has ever declared Islam as its religion. They all declared Christianity because they recognized it as the foundation by which they were built, and B, as it's the most important foundational Western document. It was also the predominant religion of the colonizers, or the colonists. I'm borrowing their language, colonizer. We would say colonist, but I'll use their language, of the colonizers. So this idea that, well, they had strong affinities for individual Muslims, or they were somewhat friendly with Morocco. Okay, great. That, as Josh said earlier, does not address the argument, firstly. And secondly, pales in comparison to their appreciation of Christianity.
Yeah. I know where he's building to, because I was able to see this part. So it's still not quite relevant. But he's trying to build up the case of saying, like, this idea of, like, okay, look, because they're in Morocco, they would face certain kind of punishment. If they're in the United States, they're going to face certain kind of punishment. So the case he's trying to build is that, well, look, Muslims only have to submit to the law that they're under. If they're in a Muslim country, it's Sharia law. If they're not in there, they don't submit. It's like, okay, so what does that have to do with what the Quran teaches about, like, ethics, about, like, what to do and the law? I mean, I know that they would disobey laws that are in contradiction to their religion, but still, like, those kinds of things. Speaking of which, we can't show these on StreamYard because they don't come through, but on Instagram, we have a couple comments from Jason, who says, Google Jefferson's reaction to reading the Quran. and freedom of religion meant freedom to choose which Christian you are.
Yeah, there is kind of that idea, and yes, you're right. Jefferson was very much not enthusiastic regarding Islam. Again, Jefferson considered himself a deist, but recognized the importance of established religion, specifically Christian religion, in the country. And sorry, what was the second part of that comment? Yeah,
and
then
religion meant freedom to choose which Christian you are.
Which, yes and no, right? So again, if you have somebody like Jefferson, who wrote regarding the separation of church and state in his personal letter, that's a private letter, by the way. That's not actually a official policy of the founding fathers. He himself was very much a big proponent of freedom of religion, simply because he, looking back at the founding of the country, is like, this country was built on people fleeing religious tyranny, right? The Church of England, which had become very much tight-fisted, very much oppositional to anybody who was not Anglican, or and in particular did not like the Puritans, who were generally more Baptist. The Puritans fled England because of that reason and came to America. So they're looking at their founding and being like, if we allow the establishment of a federal religion which controls all other, or can, I guess, assert dominance over all other branches or even just religions, we will quickly become exactly what we left. So yes and no. Yes, it was absolutely about, you are allowed to choose your own denomination, but also it was, they didn't just say Congress shall make no law prohibiting the establishment of denomination. It was specifically of religion, because they understood that men, in order to truly be free, must also freely choose God.
And then one more comment. Fun fact, the peace treaty that brought peace between the USA and Britain did so in the name of the Most Holy Trinity, in quotes.
Yeah. No, America has been Christian since its founding. So the idea that Islam could be compatible with the Constitution
it's a little
sits at odds. Right, but it sits at odds with all of America's founding.
Yeah. Let's keep rolling.
Yeah, I know.
In the US and other countries in the world, they supported each other. Jefferson, as you know, had his own version of the Quran, so he was very familiar with Islamic law and the Islamic religion. So that's the first point I'd like to introduce as a preamble to the second point. The second point has to do with Sharia law itself. And I want you to listen to this very carefully, because most people don't know this. And they go off on their rockers, disparaging and minimizing the importance of Sharia for Muslims. Sharia is a code of religious practices that Muslims have to follow as part of their religion. That's what Sharia.
Sorry, I did want to touch on, because if he's going to bring up the Jefferson argument regarding Islam, I'm just going to point out it's Thomas Jefferson who went to war with the Muslims. So I don't think, right, he's the president that goes after the Barbary pirates, the Muslim pirates. So I really don't think you want to call Thomas Jefferson a friend of Islam.
No.
Sorry, I just wanted to get that in there.
Okay, and that is Sharia law also. It's the same thing. So according to us, we divide the Muslims into two camps. Number one, Muslims who live in Muslim countries. Number two, Muslims who live in non-Muslim countries. The laws are nuanced. They're not the same. So that's why you have to understand from a Muslim jurist perspective how we nuance the two laws. So there's a law for Muslims in a Muslim country, which is the total Sharia, and they have to abide by the total Sharia. and there's a law for Muslims in a non-Muslim country like the USA, and their laws are slightly different. And the law of Sharia is that Muslims are not allowed to call for Sharia law in a non-Muslim country. By law, they're not allowed to do this. There is no way the Sharia will allow a Muslim living in the USA to promote Sharia law in this country. It's not allowed by Sharia law. It's not allowed. Not through some Western journalists or some, Western scholars like Andrew Page or, who else is there? Other scholars who've written on Islam and Sharia. They're okay, whatever they've written. We appreciate what they've written. But we must understand that the rule for engagement in a non-Muslim country for Muslims living in a non-Muslim country is that they must abide by the law of the land.
Personally, love the fact that he's like, we do not claim Andrew Tate. We want nothing to do with him. Essentially, effectively what he's saying there.
Does anyone really want to do anything with Andrew Tate?
Not really, no. The real heart of the matter there, though, is, okay, great, they can't proclaim Sharia law. Does that mean Sharia law fits with the Constitution? Does that mean it doesn't fit with the Constitution? Does it make any declarative statement whatsoever about the quality regarding Sharia law and the Constitution and the compatibility? Just because you cannot advocate for it under a system of law which is not Sharia doesn't mean it suddenly fits within said system. In fact, I would argue that definitionally it can't, because if you are not under Sharia, then you are under a system of law which disagrees with Sharia in some way, and therefore they are definitionally not compatible.
Right, because they are. He's trying to make the argument like, look, as Muslims, we are therefore because we're here, we have to follow this. We're like, okay, what is the foundation then of teaching for Islam? Okay, it would be the Quran, and then you would have like also Hadith, would help understand the Quran, and so.
And
if we're going to look at the beliefs of Islam, you have to look at the Quran and the Hadith. And if those things are teaching that they should be under Sharia law, or that they should be doing X, or that they should be treating people like this, or doing that, doing this to people who don't agree with the religion, etc., then the religion itself is not compatible because it is holding a different system of how it should work. That already tells you, as you just said, that it is not the same, it's not compatible with the Constitution, because as we saw, I guess 3 weeks ago, actual quotations from the Quran and the Hadith that are in contradiction with the Bill of Rights, such as freedom of religion, or actually that was really one of the big key things that Mike focused on in his statement, was that point of like, look, you have this issue right here that you and I looked at, I think like 3 other amendments that Islam does not coincide with, just based on its basic teachings, because we're not talking about whether or not Muslims can be.
I think Muhammad himself violated the 3rd, 8th, and I think Sharia kind of violates the 10th Amendment because it basically blends state into federal.
Yeah, it's.
Plus, I don't think women will be able to vote, so that would be a violation of the 19th Amendment.
And it's not a question of whether or not Muslims can live in the United States; is whether or not the teachings of Islam is compatible with the Constitution. We're not talking about if a Muslim can like live here, and even then, if they're here, there's a sense of which they are not fully fulfilling the teachings of Islam. They're in a state where they have to kind of like put things to the side until they can be in a state where they can actually do things per the text, which ties in well with another comment on Instagram we got saying it's not allowed in quotes until they become the majority in a given town, and then they start implementing. Example, Minneapolis, Dearborn, Midwood, Brooklyn, New York City.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Which kind of plays into a video you did a while ago, pulling from an old argument that Sam Shamoon made about like the 3 stages that
Mhm.
Muslims go through within the country. I can't remember the exact stages. Could you, I guess, for anyone listening who has not seen the video, remind
Yeah.
us of those 3 stages?
Yep. So stage 1 is the peaceful Muslim, right? That's the Meccan Muslim. The Muslim that doesn't, I mean, we call it Meccan because of the Meccan Psalms. What? The Meccan surahs, which are the surahs where Muhammad is not in control in the city of Mecca, and so he is making peace with people. He is acting kindly. And then you have what we call stage 2, which is the Muslims have majority population in the area, but not government control. So stage 1, they don't have any kind of control or majority population, right? So America, majority, or in the grand scheme, is stage 1 Islam, right? They don't have any political control, and they do not have majority population. Now there are places like were just mentioned, like Dearborn, like parts of Manhattan, and even parts of the Bronx, which are stage 2 Islam, where they have population majority, but they do not have governmental control. So the nice thing about how America is structured is that we have so many different layers of power and checks and balances that even if a Muslim, let's say, is elected to the Senate, say in, I don't know, Minnesota, they don't really have that much power individually. They have some, but not to the degree where it's like Muhammad in Medina.
Right.
Right. And that's where we get to the stage 3, the Medinan Muslim, which is the Muslim who is like Muhammad in Medina, has both population and complete power control, and therefore governs as an Islamic body. So UK is stage 2 drifting towards stage 3. America is stage 1 with pockets of stage 2.
All right, so that ties in well with that comment. I don't see anything else presently, so why don't we keep rolling then with the next bit of his statement to see if he actually ever addresses the question of the Constitution.
I vote no.
That is by Sharia law, right? Not by popular law or what Muslim apologists might say. No, by Sharia law. I'm a Muslim jurist. I understand Islamic law. I know the nuance that Muslims abide by. So no Muslim jurist in his right mind will ever tell his followers or congregation that you must abide by Sharia law in the USA. It is not allowed. In fact, it's a sin. So we believe that there is no question about whether Islam is compatible with the US Constitution. We say that Muslims must follow the Constitution, and we do. And the US, credit to the US Constitution, allows freedom of religion. You have these amendments in the Constitution that allows for freedom of religion, and that's all we ask for. We don't ask for the US to change the laws according to the Muslim mindset or the Muslim psyche. We say we'll abide by the laws of this country. The only thing is that we will not tell Muslims to commit a sin here. So if there's a law that allows a sin, we'll say to Muslims, you can't do that. Like alcohol, drinking alcohol, a very good example. That you are allowed to drink some alcohol in this country, but Muslims aren't allowed. Not because it's illegal, but because it's a sin. So there's a difference between a sin and something that's legal or illegal. We make that nuance all the time, every day. A Muslim in this country is going to abstain from sin, whether that's legal or not. We will not call for the US to change the law of the land and abolish alcohol and say, make drinking alcohol illegal. We won't do that.
Yet. What he's advocating, therefore, is we are stage 1. We don't have a sufficient voice. We don't have any real power. So we will make nice. This is not, by the way, like us just projecting stuff onto Muslims. This is actually what the Quran teaches. You can read any number of surahs regarding politics and how you are to function in a non-Islamic society, right? Like I would read Surah Al-Ma'idah, which is the 5th surah, to be a more peaceful surah, right? The Meccan surahs, where Muhammad does not have control. He's in Mecca, and he's unable to make specific distinctions. Then you can turn to a surah like Surah 94, where Muhammad does have control, right? It's a Medinan surah, and you'll see much different language, right? So Surah Ma'idah, he calls the scriptures of Jews and Christians like valid, right? Like they're valid scriptures. They contain the truth of Islam, and they are guidance from Allah. Surah 94, Jews and Christians are called the worst of creatures.
Nice.
So right now he's advocating for the Meccan view, not the Medinan view. That's just because he doesn't have the authority, that he doesn't have the control. Right? Surah 9, another great example, where you get the famous ayat, kill the infidels wherever you find them. That's because they had control at that point. They didn't have control when he's praising the texts. So right now the guy is advocating for stage 1, but that's only because, or he's advocating for peace, but that's only because they're stage 1.
Right.
If they're stage 2, if they're stage 3, that's a very different conversation.
And the thing to watch for is to see how much change. I think, like I said a couple streams ago, I'm glad this conversation is being had, because for anyone who was present, which I know they kind of kept it quiet, but for anyone who's like of high position that was there, or just higher position, or anyone who could be able to go back and see this, can hear from both sides their arguments and hear so far. They're not really addressing the question. I mean, someone could say, well, look, see, they're required to follow the law. It's like, okay, that doesn't touch the question of the teachings of Islam. And then you have the other side, like, well, here's what actually Islam teaches. These things are in contradiction to what the Constitution, what the Bill of Rights hold. And so that's, I think I'm glad to have this conversation, and I hope that it maybe circulates more. But we still haven't really addressed the question, because I would think, at least when you have that question, is Islam compatible? You're looking at the teachings of Islam, and I have not heard mention like any teachings to be in defense of, or to say, yes, this might be in contradiction to the U.S. Constitution, but here's why it's on face value, but here's why it isn't in its actual practice. He's more just kind of like, yeah, we don't. Well, we're fine. Don't worry about it. You're fine. Another comment on Instagram: Quran allows Muslim leaders to lie, or at least bend the truth. Take everything he's saying with a grain of salt.
Yes, we talked about taqiyya last time, and if you want to hear more about that, you can go check out the stream, which is on YouTube, from the 6th. I don't know. Last Thursday. Today is the 14th, so no, it would have been the 8th, right?
I wasn't here, dude.
No,
That's
9th.
all you.
It would have been the 9th. It would have been the 9th, because it's 5 days. So the stream on July 9th, final answer, talked all about taqiyya and how Muslims are allowed to lie under 3 circumstances. 1, to their wives, which, hilarious. 2, if 2 friends are fighting, you can lie in order to get them to stop fighting. And 3, in times of war. And it's that last one, because by Islamic literature, both the Quran and the Hadith, as well as just Islamic practice, if you are not under Muslim rule, I believe it's Surah 3 says this. I know Surah 40 does. If you are not, and Surah 16, the bees. That's the title of Surah 16, An-Nal, the bees. Surah 16, all say you are not allowed as a Muslim to take the kafirs or doubters or infidels as rulers, right, as governors. You are not allowed to take them as lords over you. Therefore, if you are in a non-Muslim country, as a Muslim, you are in a state of war. Therefore, you can lie to them. Right. So that was, I think, the last stream we did. So go check that out if you're interested. Huh?
That's a great question.
They all blend together. Yeah, that it was because that's when I used the AI generated thumbnail.
Did you use it for all of them?
No, I screenshotted it and then put it into Google Slides and did some shenanigans.
Oh boy.
Lots of clip art.
Anyway.
All right. Yes. Back to this.
But that's what Sharia law is. But that Sharia law is for a Muslim country. It is not for a non-Muslim country. So there is no fear, there's no threat, because we've never said that in our jurisprudence. It's very clearly written in the primary sources of Islamic law, not secondary or tertiary sources. The primary source of Islamic law, which is the Quran, and the statements of the Prophet Muhammad clearly says that Islamic law, Sharia law, is for Muslims in a Muslim country. It is not for Muslims in a non-Muslim country. That you must respect, because once you've understood this, there is no question. This conference is redundant because we've never seen, legally and in terms of jurisprudence, even theologically, we've never seen a contradiction between Sharia and the US Constitution, because we tell our congregation. It's on our website, Darul Qasim website. If you go to darulqasim.org, on the website, you'll see this clearly stated and written that you must follow the law of the land. So there is no contradiction. We're okay, and that's why we live peacefully in this country. So these are the two things I'd like to bring forward so that the debate goes on, and we look forward to your contributions and to your questions and answers. Thank you very much.
Like you say, Abdullah.
Once, and he actually answered the question.
We didn't ask if Muslims can live in a non-Muslim country, which, again, by the Quran, right, Surah 16 and Surah 40, they can't. I think it's Surah 328, and I don't remember the exact verses for the other ones. But by those three surahs, Surah 3, Surah An-Nahl, and Surah 40, you cannot live as a Muslim in a non-Muslim country. So, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Surah 3, Ayat 28, but I could be wrong.
Surah 3, Ayat 28, believers should not take disbelievers as guardians instead of the believers. Yeah. Whoever does so will have nothing to hope for from Allah, unless it is a precaution against their tyranny, and Allah warns you about himself, and to Allah is the final return.
Right. So, and right here, this gentleman, this sheikh, has contradicted that idea, because he says we live peacefully here. Well, hang on. You're only supposed to allow them to rule over you if it's because of their tyranny. Not if you're living peacefully as a Muslim and you're allowed to practice, then you are not allowed to take them as guardians over you, and therefore you're in a time of war. And therefore you can lie. Right? So we didn't ask if Muslims can live peacefully, even though the Quran says they can't. We asked if Islam's teachings are compatible with America's constitutional law.
Very important distinction.
You didn't answer the question. You did not answer the question at all.
It's kind of like we've been having a couple conversations with some different people, and there's times when I know you and I have asked questions saying, can you provide this, or can you define this, or explain this? And then they go everywhere else but that one spot. It's like, no, that's not what we're asking you. We're asking you this one thing. I think that even happened on one of our LDS streams. I think it was one of the last ones we did, where we had like 3 people commenting at the same time that we were in a verbal back and forth with. Let me see.
Yet, strangely, when we gave them the opportunity to call in, no one
didn't show up.
Isn't that just weird?
Let's see. Nope, that's not one of them. I thought I found another one. That I have to look up your other ones later, maybe. Comment on Instagram. They'll also exercise what power they have really inconveniently. Example: Islamic call to prayer in major cities and praying in the middle of Times Square.
Yes, we also did a stream about that. We did a stream about Times Square praying and how it was a show of dominance, right? It was an attempt to say we have taken over here. Although I did appreciate there's a video of a British police officer just dragging Muslims out of the street because they were blocking traffic in order to do the call to prayer, which is just an absolute show of, hey, we have dominated you. You are submitting to us. And the cop just went, nope, and just dragged right out of the street. I was like, I mean, hey, good on them, you know, because you have every single right to pray. You do. You don't have the right to do it in the middle of the street. I, as a Christian, cannot go and stand in the middle of the street to pray. A, I'd probably get hit by a car. And B, it would be blocking traffic, which is illegal.
C, Jesus says don't do it in public for public affection or attention.
Both and. All right, let's keep it moving here because it's now almost 9 o'clock.
I said, if you want to hear the next guy's statement, we can. We also can skip to when they have more of a dialogue. We can do those as well.
No, I see why I have to discuss this part. So let me.
Does this guy offer any better arguments?
I mean, if you just kind of want to hear a Muslim ramble not answering the question at all, you can definitely.
Okay, skipping to the dialogue portion.
About 50, I think it is. 50 in the early 50s. That's the in opposition to Islam side. One of the other guys was 6, so it's just 2v3.
Compatible really with the Christianity choice in the American political system. I'm grateful to all of you for coming because he wanted to have a discussion where it wasn't necessarily three of us saying, you know, Islam is the compatible with the U.S. Constitution without having, you know, someone to raise the questions that our two friends here very ably raised, and hopefully we can tease out some of the things that they mentioned. So I'm going to start by noting that the question of whether Islam is compatible with the U.S. Constitution requires us to ask, first of all, what is Islam, of course, but also what is the U.S. Constitution? And so if we don't have a correct understanding or a sort of understanding of the U.S. Constitution that corresponds to reality, then we will go astray in answering this question just as much as we will if we have the correct understanding of Islam.
This is the U.S. Constitution. It's a set of legally guiding and binding documents by which the U.S. governs itself. That was not that hard.
Well, he is trying to defend Islam.
No, I know, but what is the U.S. Constitution? This. Look, it's even got America pages.
Nice.
It's not that hard of a question. It's a series of legally guiding and binding laws and principles that the U.S. uses to govern itself. And then for what is Islam? Islam is a devotion to the pagan god Allah, although they probably wouldn't say pagan. But the pagan god Allah, and an enforcement of one's servitude and submission to him through practices found in the Quran and Hadith. If those practices contradict Exhibit A, then Islam is not compatible. It's just that simple. Also, the thing I would point out is, can you show me a single Islamic country right now who lives in a manner compatible with the Constitution, or has a system of government similar to the one found in the Constitution? Articles 1 through 3. If I will narrow it down even further, just if you can give me a vague outline of a Muslim country that fits Articles 1 through 3. Won't even worry about the amendments. Won't worry about the remaining 4 articles. Articles 1 through 3. You can find one. I will concede the argument entirely. Have fun looking. You'll be looking for a while. Actually, no, you won't, because you can just go, no, 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 no.
Consistent. And I would also say that we thought very hard about bringing a Muslim to sit on that panel over there to argue with them that no, Islam is not compatible with the Constitution, because in fact there are many who would in fact argue that, or at least have doubts. And so we couldn't really think of someone who would be rare enough to do that, but there are plenty of anonymous people on Twitter even fun. Or for that matter, I'm sure the Kelly.
Pause.
Couldn't find one?
Hang on. It's not even that for me they couldn't find one. It's that they had the idea to do that. That suggests, guys, that Islam in some facet is not compatible. Because if you can find somebody... Thank you for that mid-sentence.
I think you're going to pause. Usually you do.
Because if you can find somebody who holds the position that no, Islam is not compatible, I as a Muslim do not think that, then you will have Muslims living within the United States, let's use their paradigm, living within the United States, who cannot or who are not willing to live in compatibility with the U.S. Constitution. So, Islam is not compatible. Or you have to say that Islam comes in many different versions, of which I find no evidence. I find Sunni, I find Shia, and I find a few schools of thought inside there like Sephardi. But that's about it. There is nothing to suggest that a Sunni or Shia Muslim would agree with the compatibility of Islam with the Quran. Or, excuse me, with the Constitution. The Quran is not compatible. The Hadith are not compatible. The Tafsirs are not compatible. There is no aspect. And also, yes, Josh, as you mentioned, they couldn't find one. Really? I could find
how much they
several.
looked.
Yeah.
Either they weren't looking, or they only looked in specific circles.
Yeah. What they did is they actually stood across the street from a mosque and went, "Hey, are there any Muslims that think that you can't be compatible?" No, guys, couldn't find any. We looked.
Like, oh, wait, he's gone.
Yeah, no.
Wait, come back.
Exactly. Yeah. Couldn't track him down. Tried, couldn't.
Nah, it was too far away.
They have the people, murderers and not say that. So I think one interesting aspect of this is that our friends here mentioned, for example, Charlie Hebdo as an example of why Islam is not compatible with the U.S. Constitution. But if they were sitting, if the murderers were here with us today, they'd be sitting over on that panel over there, and they would probably want to kill us too. So that is an illustration of how you have very strong disagreements between Muslims themselves on a question like this. And so one of my audiences, our audiences here, is actually Muslims. It's not to sit here and to try to explain to non-Muslims why Islam is compatible with the Constitution. That is obviously one of the themes, but it's also to explain to Muslims how being a Muslim and being in America is not incompatible, and in fact does not require you to live with this sort of cognitive dissonance where you kind of are Muslim in one sense and then American in another. And
you guys did promote it. No wonder you don't have a lot of Muslims there. You don't have a lot of people there besides Muslims, because you told, as IP said in his stream, you guys told them not to promote it, and that they did. You have... You're saying this is for the Muslims? No, I think that because, yes, it's the people that get involved in voting on certain things, or want to say is people are involved in voting for laws and blah 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 blah, all these things. But here's the deal. You're trying to say, if I heard him correctly, he's saying that we're trying to convince Muslims that it's compatible. I think you should be trying to convince everyone else, considering that Islam is not the majority, and that there has been some serious questioning of it due to the crumbling of Dawah, the realization of things are happening in Muslim countries, and the fact that apologetics has been like polemicizing harder than Muhammad at al-Zud. And I got killed with that one. But it's very clear that you guys are, at least that side of the table. I don't want to like plant your intentions too much, but you're trying to portray it as something that either you guys don't realize it isn't, or you know it is, but you're trying to protect yourself from it. I was telling people in the Discord that I was working on learning a couple more languages. I'm still working on my Hebrew. I need to like get back into more of the technical stuff. It's been a little bit since I've actually like worked on translation things, but I've been also trying to work on basic Arabic and relearning Spanish because I have a lot of students in the school that I teach at that speak Spanish. It's their first language, so I want to be able to help them make music classes more accessible. But in Arabic, because I remember, Caleb, how many people do we meet in the area or try to talk to for that mosque that clearly did not speak much English, if English at all?
Well, my guess would be they spoke a specific language. I won't give it away because there are a higher concentration of people in this specific area of that ethnicity.
Sure.
But yeah, I still think Arabic would be a good one to learn, simply to argue on the basis of the Quran.
Or even then, like, their point being is that there were some people I met, and as I'm learning a little bit Arabic, it's like, nope, yep, I recognize that was Arabic, or like, nope, that's a different language. I borderline recognize that. But for those kind of people, they either know Arabic and therefore don't read the Quran, they know Arabic and they lie about the Quran, or they don't know Arabic and they're just quoting Arabic, and therefore they know diddly squat about what the Quran says. And so, kind of just like what the point being is that they're kind of in a similar position, I'm guessing, is that either they don't really know the Quran, even though they're higher up, but you'd be surprised how many people who are higher up do not actually know the Quran. They do know the Quran and they're trying to sugarcoat it, or they actually just do not actually know what the teachings of Islam are, as like even like half of the grifter and some of the non-grifter Dawahists do online, like saying, "Oh no, we're fine with this. We don't have this." Just like, brother, yes you do. So I thought the dialogue was here, but I guess we're not there yet.
Yeah, no worries. And when Sneeko converted to Islam, which there was a hilarious clip that went viral of him and, do you know who Alex Jones is?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Him and Alex Jones had like a sort of debate, kind of, ish. And basically, the real spectacle was just who can out nuts the other one. Like, who can just be so absolutely bat crap crazy on a grander scale. And I mean, you can't beat Alex Jones in that competition. You just can't. And Alex very clearly played it up as much as possible. And like towards the end of it, Sneeko was even like he couldn't believe like he'd never met anybody willing to match him on craziness and go further. More to the point, when he initially converted, he made an amazing statement, which is, I can't remember, I'll paraphrase. He was like, I converted but I don't want to give up fun. Because he was learning like all the different things that you can't do in Islam, right? You can't actually have private property. You can't have that in Islam, which, you know, Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights.
Correct.
Those being, every frickin' time, man, those being the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That private property is entailed in that right to both liberty and pursuit of happiness. So while it doesn't, I mean, it does violate the Constitution in terms of the Third Amendment automatically qualifying that you have the ability to own private property. But yeah, he learned, he was like, yeah, no, we don't do credit cards because of, and we don't do interest loans. So we don't do private property, and we don't drink alcohol, and we don't do this, that, and the other thing. He's like, I didn't sign up to not have fun. And it's like, to your point, so many people do not understand anything about the religion. They really have no idea.
Well, it was do you remember what was his name? He was not the white Muslim guy, which is, for everyone who doesn't know, that's his actual tag on social media. Kenyon
Kenyon
Mims.
Mims.
Yes. He's made more videos recently trying to prove Islam, and in doing so, either A, debunks Islam, or B, contradicts the Quran. And it's like, dude, or he completely threw the Quran under the bus one time. I was like, dude, you have just decimated your own religion without meaning to.
Because so the Quran was, Islam was never the Quran. It was always Muhammad.
Yeah.
So if you are following a man, right, you are following a leadership structure, then that leadership structure, when that initial leader dies, right, when that man dies, the leadership structure will continue to be the focal point. And now that leadership structure has shifted to the Dawa guys, right? So the Dawa guys run the popular Islam branch. Excuse me. And therefore, they don't care about, oh my gracious, they don't care about the Quran. They don't care about the Hadith. They just care about, they don't care about the tafsir. They just care about their Dawa guys and what they say. Right. So if it contradicts the Quran, so what? We're going to go with the Dawa guy. All right. Let's see if we can get, hang on. So we'll click here.
His work, ironically, on the punishing of the one who insults the prophet. He says that no, he says that it's
flapping.
I'll say, if you want to, another spot you can go to is
of a belief, which
IP has a crop version where it's him in dialogue with the guy that's currently speaking. Little bits of it. It's all cut up.
Is it called "I Spoke at the Capitol About"?
Yes, it's that one. It has his opening statement in that little bit. I think it's just the part.
Nope.
Muslims on the ground living in America, which have been heavily westernized, we need to look at what the Quran teaches, what the Sunnah teaches.
You want to
anyone know
chapters,
very well the kind of teachings that you're referring to. Your understanding of Islam.
All right. So, where do we pick up? Do you know?
Let's start with apostasy and death penalty. I think that's when they actually have. Oh, no, sorry, that's his opening statement. We watched that. Go to audience pushback.
Okay.
I would challenge folks because of my notice. I mean, I was just, for example, at a celebration of the that a family had for their child, having started reading the Quran in Arabic, and this is something that our Indo-Pakistani brothers and sisters do. And
now, what we should say there, real quick, when he says that the child began reading the Quran in Arabic, he means that literally, not interpretatively. So he means that the child literally is reading the Arabic words. Muslims recite Arabic all the time. Very few of them actually know what they're saying. Right? Only Dawa guys do, only sheikhs do, only imams do. Your average lay person in a mosque is not going to know Arabic. They will recite the Arabic back. They will not know what it means. So when it says the child began to read Arabic, they mean like, yeah, he was literally just reading like
Arabic words and sounds.
We'll say wale yale yalehedem. If you know what that means, you're grossed out. That's the I'll just give you guys Surah 65 verse 4, ayat 4. Surah 65 ayat 4. That one. Go ahead and read that if you want to be really, really grossed out, like immensely grossed out. All right, but anyways, continuing on.
And it was a wonderful celebration. It was a barbecue, and it was a family having fun together. And
A barbecue,
a barbecue.
Yeah, a barbecue which lacks pulled pork is not a barbecue. Changed my mind.
just a joyous occasion. And we're all sitting around saying, hey, and to hell with those kufar, and I mean, people, these are all families who are raising their children in America, getting along marvelously with their neighbors, inviting the neighbors over, wanting to, enjoying and being grateful for what they have, and living here, and voting and being a part of it, wanting really nothing more than to live their lives and to raise their children as everyone does. And
so what?
As you said, so what first, but here's there's a few other issues. It's still, he's looking at the question of like, can there be people who claim to be Muslim? I'm going to put it that way because actual Muslims wouldn't know what their texts say and disagree with the Constitution. But people who claim to be Muslim and whether or not they can live morally or live peacefully or whatever. This is kind of like when an atheist assumes that when a Christian or just a theist in general says that they cannot justify morality, that we're saying that they can't know morality. It's like, that was never the question. The question wasn't can someone either actually be Muslim or nominally be a Muslim and live, and be nice to you or be kind or do whatever. That was never that's not the question. The question is on the teachings of Islam, and he's avoided it entirely. Second thing, I had a conversation. I shared with you this conversation, but for those who listen, I will keep some of the details a little more to myself right now. But I was having a theological discussion with a friend recently, and we were talking about some of the things that were happening over church history and some of the things that people affirm today versus back then, and like how they argued for stuff. And one of the points, and I couldn't tell if it was actually leaning this direction, but I know we have a friend who does in the direction that we were talking about. And I brought the point saying, look, they, unfortunately, due to the actual logic, end up denying this thing as a heresy, and they're saying that it's actually not a heresy because they have to affirm that, or whether they realize it or not, that's what the logic leads. I guess just stuff that leads to problems that contradict councils and scripture, and et cetera, et cetera. And then he was saying, well, wouldn't they say they affirm X? It's like, you can say that you affirm something, but if you don't actually know what that something is, then you don't actually, one, affirm it, and two, you end up sometimes not realizing that you were in contradiction to it. So let's say that these were people who claim to be Muslims living in the country and that they are sounding out Arabic words, but they don't know what it means. Just because they say and give credibility or some kind of verbal affirmation that they think it aligns with the Constitution, or that they can try with the Constitution, doesn't mean that they actually do feel in terms of the actual logic. If, again, the question is not about the individual person, the question is on Islam itself and its teachings. Because you can give a whole bunch of examples within Christianity, outside of Christianity, of people who claim to verbally affirm something, but the thing that they are either living by or actually affirming, thinking that is compatible with, let's say they affirm X and they're saying it is compatible with Y, but they don't realize the logic actually says Y cannot happen, then it doesn't matter if they say they think X and Y can go together. If what they believe does not fit with Y, X is therefore not affirming Y. I think that's a simpler way to put it. But again, to Caleb's point, so what? So what if they're doing X, Y, Z? It doesn't address the question of Islam. I can't tell if Caleb's looking for something to read because he looks like he's flipping pages.
No, I was listening.
Oh, I thought you were looking for something that you're going to be pulling up. You look like you were flipping pages.
Nope. We good to move on?
Yeah, we're good to move on.
All right.
Let me make sure there's no comment. Yeah, we're good.
Sick.
So what I'm going to say is that do they have this nature? Number one, yes, because of Islam, which they weren't raised on. Most of these people were not raised in the kind of radical ideology that is often portrayed as Islam itself, right? And so these are people that you would want as your neighbors, that you might even have as your neighbors. And so I would say that, yes, you can point to certain one Charlie Hebdo stuff, but the Muslims that you're living with aren't Charlie Hebdo murderers. They're just ordinary people. And I was not in spite of their Islamic teachings, but because of their Islamic teachings, which happen to coincide with reasonableness and sanity. Thank you.
Michael, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I thought that was well stated. I would push back a little bit, though. For example, in the book The Price of Freedom Denied by Roger Fickey and Brian Grimm, they say that American Muslims are the most westernized, the most secular in terms of their values. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of really great American Muslims, but they've moved so far away from what Islam teaches. If we're going to talk about if Islam is compatible with the Constitution, we just can't look at Muslims on the ground living in America, which have been heavily westernized. We have to look at what the Quran teaches, what the Sunnah teaches. That's why I focus in on my opening statement specific things like Surah 929. Many of the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari about the killing of apostates. So I think if we focus too much on that, we're not counting in the various influences on a lot of American Muslims. Instead, we should look exactly what Islam teaches. So in my opening statement, I focus on what Islam teaches, and I focus on the sociological research, the effects coming out of Islamic societies as a whole. We can always point to people on the ground. Look at this guy here, he's great. Look at that guy here, he's great. Yeah, that's anecdotal. But what is the actual evidence showing us? What are we finding when we get in the sources? I for one, think there's many American Muslims that are living very peaceful, wonderful lives. It's probably most likely because they've been westernized and they're not going on the core tenets of Islam. That'd be the pushback I give.
Well, okay, thank you. And what I would say in response to that is that this is the main example. This is a family.
To his point, I'll use one that you did a video on recently. I'll use again term like nominally, meaning like by name that they call themselves this, because you can question whether or not if you're not actually following Islam, even if you're a westernized version, you can question whether or not you're actually a Muslim in that case. But so I would use nominal in this sense. Someone who is nominally a Christian, you can claim to affirm LGBTQ. And if you use that as proof text, as a proof saying, look, Christianity is compatible with LGBTQ. The problem is that if you look at the teachings of Christianity, it shows that, no, we are to love the people regardless, but we do not affirm that that is compatible with scriptures because that is not in accordance with what is taught by the scriptures. So therefore, would we say that Christianity is actually compatible with the LGBTQ? No, it's not. You can't say that based on the teaching. People have tried to say that, but the evidence within the scriptures and then even within the scientific data and sociological data shows that that's not the case. Same idea here. You can show someone who is nominally a Muslim, but that doesn't show whether Islam itself is compatible. And I think that's just, I think that's for us Christians, that's a good, I think it's a good example within our own sphere, quote unquote, again, nominally speaking, of that idea where it's like, whoa, look, this person claims to be a Christian and they affirm it, so therefore it must be compatible. It's like, just because someone does it doesn't A, mean that speaks for everyone. A minority doesn't speak for the majority, and B, it doesn't look at the actual teachings. And if the teachings contradict it, if we're talking about Christianity, if Christianity affirms LGBT or is compatible with LGBTQ, then we're talking about the teachings and the system itself. Same thing here. We're talking about if Islam is compatible with the Constitution, we're looking at the question of, is the system, the religion compatible with this? Not if someone can be westernized or be nominally a Muslim, like Kenyon Mims or Lily J, who claim to be Muslim. But let's be honest, Lily J clearly is not living by Islam teachings, at least based on the fact of what she does on social media. That alone should be like, okay, she's not actually a Muslim. She can claim to be, but she clearly isn't, based on that very fact.
But what about Chat GPT?
I forgot about the Chat GPT thing.
Lily JPT. Sorry, I had to get that in there. Just
No, you're good.
a verbal tick.
But I think his point there was, I think you have been saying it, but I think he put it in a way that reminded me of a better example that kind of ties into the issue that we're seeing throughout. I mean, like I said, I watched about half of this. So I got to hear most of the speakers. And the entire time, I'm just not hearing an actual argument from the affirmative side based on the actual teachings and system of Islam.
Cool.
Celebrating their child's learning the Quran and reading the Quran. And I also want to mention this. Maybe if you have Googled me, I spent 13 and a half years in federal prison for terrorism related offenses.
You were right for that, were you?
No, I was going to play this one.
Oh.
Huh.
Anyways.
Very serious mistakes. So I, if anyone, know very well the kind of teachings that you're referring to. And I used to, in sitting in the Supermax prison in ATX, Colorado, I used to have debates with Richard Reed, the guy who tried to blow up an airplane with a shoe in 2002. And I would say, when you debate about the killing of civilians and whether Islam allows us or doesn't allow, then I'll tie it as overall ideology. And I said to myself, because whenever I'm going to say something, someone will come back with, well, boom, this sort of, right? And this hadith, and this, it's the same ones that you guys are referring to, And I said, well, how do you end it? Well, this scholar said this scholar said that. And I said, where did you get all your knowledge from? Where did you study? And he's like, I have a PDF that I got from Al-Qatada, and it was applied ideologue based in London. And I looked at the PDF that he had, and they had studied these things in London, and even in Afghanistan, where he was at Qaeda. And I looked at this stuff, and I'm like, what this guy did? This guy went and cherry-picked a bunch of sayings and a bunch of verses and a bunch of, and he created a montage of a belief, which then was drilled into these people, So I like to say that really the only people whose ideology is, what I'd say that people folks like Robert Spencer, and no offense to him, because actually a bad in county said no, Robert Spencer and ISIS, really have a very similar understanding of Islam, you know what I mean? And you yourself. Like your understanding of Islam is basically like ISIS. It's just that you think that's bad, whereas they think that's good. But you all would agree on, that's.
Okay, so one of the things IP brought up was Sahih Bukhari and its reference to killing apostates. Question for that guy. If you kill, or if you apostatize in a Muslim country, will you be killed? Women are killed in Muslim countries for not wearing hijab. We have documented cases of that. A Muslim or a former Muslim burned a Quran and was beaten to death. That's Islam. That's what's not compatible with the Western country, right? Are you going to say that all of those countries all misunderstand Islam and you have it right? Not to appeal, I guess, to general consensus, but I don't know. It seems to me like millions of people, billions of people may understand and may have the correct understanding on this. right? Because they are looking at they're looking at the Quran and they're deriving their beliefs from it. You are doing the same. The difference is you have 3 people here, maybe 3 people. I don't even know if the other 2 would agree with him, but maybe 3 people here who say this, and then you have 1 billion people who say something different. I'm going to kind of tend towards the 1 billion, as well as all of Islamic history, which states that apostates should be killed.
Yeah. I find it interesting, too, that I've been noticing this more and more. And so I'm not going to use this as an overarching, but at least from the things I have found of Muslims or people who are trying to defend Islam, or even like atheists trying to defend atheism, the ones I'm encountering lately, all when oppressed turn to telling stories, not making arguments, or they just hand wave saying, well, you're doing this, and provide no actual counter interpretation, argument, evidence showing why the argument that one person is using is actually faulty. Like, you can say, well, you're assuming this, and therefore, and it's wrong. Okay, so then what does it mean? Like, when you're in a setting where you're pushing back and saying that no, what you're saying is wrong, you then provide the counter. You don't just say you're wrong and leave it there and go tell a story. You actually show, well, look, what does those verses actually mean? What do they actually say? How are Muslims supposed to live by them? If you're saying, well, no, you're just assuming ISIS, it's like, then if you're assuming they're wrong, therefore, what is the correct interpretation of those verses? And majority of Muslims will say IP is right.
Yeah, and to even back that up further, right? He's saying, "Oh, you're just taking out all these out of context." Okay, I'm going to read you a quote, and I want you to try and put it into a context for me that does not violate the U.S. Constitution. Quote: "The last hour would not come unless the Muslims will fight against the Jews, and the Muslims would kill them until the Jews would hide behind a stone or a tree. And a stone or a tree would say, 'O servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me. Come and kill him.'" That's Sahih Muslim 2922. That is Momo speaking. I want you, random guy, to try and put that into a context where it's compatible with freedom of religion. Any context wherein it's compatible. It's not.
Do you have work in the morning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We obviously have more. I know you wanted to get to the Ryan the IP video, the other one.
Yeah.
I just want to know what your clock was, so that way we could get to that.
Yeah, we can do a little bit more of this.
Okay.
Is there a particular one you want?
Not really. I think any of the sections kind of get to the point.
Yes,
like what?
Reading and scholarship, that kind of sounds interesting to me.
Okay.
So we'll go there. And that section is
20:45.
about 5.5 minutes long, a little less or a little more than, excuse me. That would probably be good to wrap this up.
Yeah, first of all, you're not a scholar, the exegesis for outside. I don't think you should speak about Quran interpretation. That's a very an academic approach. We teach the Quran, 6 years, 12 years, and all the verses you cited, they are all contextual. They're not literal. You're taking them literally, but they're not literal, they're contextual. You must learn the religion from the people of the religion, not from the people who are antagonistic to the religion. So I would really suggest that, first of all, your premises, they're not very academic. And I really suggest to you that you come and study with somebody who knows the religion as a practitioner of the religion, and ask what those verses actually mean. Ask what those hadith mean. I teach Bukhari. I've been teaching for years. But all of those hadiths that you mentioned, they don't mean anything you suggest that they mean.
Yeah.
And contextual. Actually, you must understand the academic value of this discussion, this panel. It has to be academic. It can't be just a baseline.
So
no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I actually, and it really just.
On one hand, you're not totally wrong. If you're talking about another person's culture and religion, you would actually make sure you're getting information from those people. However, in a debate setting, that's an appeal to authority.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it doesn't address the argument at all. You're just saying things. It doesn't show why he's wrong. Saying it's always contextual,
Right.
Or it's academic but not contextual, or whatever it is. It's like, call what you want. You gotta show why it's wrong.
Exactly. That was my big thing. I was like, you didn't tell us what it meant, though. Right? Like, if it truly were contextual, you could say, here's the context of, you cited the death for apostates. Give us the context for that, then.
Yeah, if he did that, it wouldn't be an appeal to authority. It'd be him making a comment and backing it up because it'd be evidence for it. It would be like, if someone said to me that Deuteronomy says this, and then I said, well, you don't know the culture of it, therefore you're just wrong. I left it there. It doesn't tell anyone anything.
Yeah.
It's like you have to actually learn from them.
It's like an assertion.
Yeah, I'm just asserting things. But if I said, well, that's not what the literary context and the culture context is, and I said, for example, and I provide brief analysis of that, I'm not providing a counterpoint, interpretation that can be considered in opposition to the one that's being presented. Then we actually have an argument. Right now, he is just asserting and then making an appeal to authority. It doesn't answer anything. He's actually almost like upset with him for quoting the Quran for that point. It's like,
yeah,
sorry, I quoted your book.
Well, yeah, because, notice they don't quote their book.
Exactly.
They don't even explain what the quotes in their book mean. So
This is also an anecdote, as it were, but it illustrates something here. I remember Richard Reed saying to me, when it comes to attacking civilians, Ibn Rushd, he said that when an army comes into an area, it is permissible to kill those who are not fighting, just kind of random. Obviously, if you're not allowed to kill women and children, and under some rules of war, which by the way are not even applicable in our situation we're talking about. But anyway, and he said, but Ibn Rushd said that you are allowed to kill those who are not fighting, like basically just farmers, men, military-aged men that were not fighting, non-combatants. I said, he said, then I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, he quotes for me what Ibn Rushd said. Well, the great thing about ADX is they have an amazing library. And so I ordered ordered for him, and I ordered them that book, the English translation. And I looked at what Ibn Rushd actually said there, and I was like, no, Ibn Rushd is like quoting like 5 or 6 different people, you know what I mean? And he says there's this opinion, but other people said, no, he was wrong about that. So it is very possible, again, to do a montage where you go and you pull that up, and you pull that up, and you put together a really interesting, unique kind of thing that you call Islam. And you can do that, and Al Qaeda can do that, and they have done that, you know what I mean? But those are decontextualized. And now you might say that, oh, well, you are decontextualizing by taking only those interpretations. For example, the verse of the sword. There are actually, if you look at the tafsirs, they do say that many of the last scholars said that that verse. The question is, well, just like for example, in Graphai 15, there is no compulsion on which is that verse abrogated by this verse that you're talking about? Well, many of them said no, that wasn't abrogated. That only applies in the situation of war, or it only applied in the situation of the mushrikeen or the polytheists, and that. So like if you wanted to, you could go and you could look at only those interpretations of those verses that are reasonable and that are in conformity with the basic principles of Islam, that every human being is created in dignity, and you could you could have an understanding of this.
except for the women who are insufficient and deficient in mind. They are not created equal.
Also took him forever to actually make a point. Like he just kept going off on a whole oh look, it's possible. It's like yeah, we're not talking about possibility right now.
I'll give him a little bit of a pass for that because I do that kind of stuff though. You can go after him for it, but I like to build my case before I make my point.
My point is that he's talking about he's again trying to make a big assertion about possibility that is like, well, it's he's trying to say like how like you're doing this. It's like, look how possible it is. Doesn't show how he's actually doing that. That's my point. Like you can build a case slowly. I'm okay with that. But he's not even actually. He's just claiming IP and the others. And I don't know what the other guy's name is. that they are quote minded and do these things, but gives no actual argumentation for it. Therefore, he's just going on and rambling, talking about possibilities. It's like, yeah, it's possible. No one said it wasn't. You haven't actually shown how it is possible. That's different. Also, notice that some authority figures are not talking much.
And the one time he did, he basically just screeched at IP and then explained nothing. I mean, we didn't watch the whole video, so maybe, but yeah. I haven't heard this dude on the right talk literally once.
No, he gave his statement. We skipped his.
That is the polar opposite. Like, you would think this is like the people who are not even the same religion at all. You know what I mean? And that's in fact the case. Because our faith, our understanding of our faith, this is not I'm cutting a positive spin. It's just that, like, this is reasonable. It's normal. It's natural. If you don't believe that every human being is created with equal dignity, you are not a reasonable person.
So to respond to a couple things that are said there, I understand where you're coming from, that there's all these different various opinions in there. That's going to be more problematic, I think, for your side then, because you're allowing the idea that you could have a very ISIS version of Islam based on that. That is a huge problem, because you're not saying that this is the proper way. You're saying there are multiple ways, and you even admitted in your opening statement that there are many Muslims, I'd say majority globally, that be on our side, Islam is incompatible with the Constitution. And with regards to learning from scholars, I totally agree. This is why I read people like Kabir, for example, who talked about Surah 2:15-16 being abrogated by later verses. It's many scholars take that opinion, for example. So
He mentions the difference.
he mentions differences. Yeah, I was about to say that. So there's that issue right then and there. With real quick on the sociological data, I think we're setting up a false dichotomy. It's not Islam or other things. It's multiple things. That's why we run these multivariable analyses, where Islam is another factor contributing to conflict, authoritarianism. So if you're correct, we should be seeing this in the real world data. Islam should not be a variable in the sociological models leading to more conflict, violence, oppression, authoritarianism. If what you're saying is correct, we don't, the real world data stands against that. With regards to Surah 929, I agree that we should contextualize it. Absolutely, but the context is there. It doesn't say anything about defensive wars. It specifically refers to those who were given the scriptures, aka Jews and Christians. Muslims are saying to fight them.
That's very literal. That's what Jesus said. We don't understand that ayah to be literal.
Okay, well, I'm saying though is that I need to see evidence in the Quran it is not literal, not just this random statement, because there were many Muslims, including scholars like Ibn Kathir, did take it very literally. And the context again is that the Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, and the Christians say the Messiah is the son of Allah. That is the reason they are to be basically forced to descend class citizens and fought until they do. It's not about defensive wars.
There you go.
Notice that the second you start actually giving context to them, they were like, no, wrong.
Yeah. Well, and they went from you need to contextualize it to you're taking it too literally. You're taking it too literally. Stop taking it literally. What are you doing?
I'm trying to figure out how you take kill all infidels or passages.
Can you take that figuratively?
Okay,
so let's quickly. Yeah, I'm gonna quickly pull up Surah 9. We'll just have the whole thing because obviously you want
to contextualize
context, right? Exactly, you got to contextualize it. So Surah At-Tawbah, Surah At-Tawbah.
While he's pulling it up, like and subscribe. Or you're on Instagram, follow and hit join the Discord. I need a Discord button. I make a Discord button somehow.
Okay, so the verse in contention here is Ayat 29. Fight those who do not believe in Allah and the last day, nor comply with what Allah and his messengers have forbidden, nor embrace the religion of truth from among those who are given the scripture until they pay the tax, willingly submitting, fully humbled. So they're saying, oh, this is taken out of context. It's taken out of context. All right, we'll read the context. So I don't even know where to start here.
It's hard when the website doesn't give you like a narrative structure for it.
Right. All right, so we'll say here. So starting in Ayat 24, and we're going to read through, I know we need 30, 31. We'll read through 32. All right, so 24 through 32. Nice 8-verse section. Should give us plenty of context, right? Right. Okay. Say, O prophet, if your parents and children and siblings and spouses and extended family and the wealth you have acquired and the trade you fear will decline in the homes you cherish, if all these are more beloved to you than Allah and his messenger and struggling in his way, then wait until Allah brings about his will. Allah does not guide the rebellious people. Indeed, Allah has given you believers victory on many battlefields, even at the Battle of Hunain, small footnote, which is the Muslim victory in Mecca. And then it says almost all Arab tribes pledge allegiance to the Prophet because if they didn't, they die, except some tribes in Hawazin and Thaqif. Both tribes decided to attack the Muslims, so the Prophet led an army of 12,000 soldiers to attack the two tribes. Since that was the largest Muslim army ever mobilized, some Muslims expressed their conviction that such an army could not be defeated. However, on the way to battle, the Muslim army was ambushed and most soldiers fled except for the Prophet and a few loyalists. Eventually, the Muslims were reorganized and won a decisive battle. Doesn't exactly sound like, peace and love and, very helpful context, but we'll keep going. Then Allah sent down his reassurance upon his messenger and the believers and sent down forces you could not see and punished those who disbelieved. Such was the reward of the disbelievers. Then afterwards, Allah will turn in grace to whomever he wills, and Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. O believers. Okay, so this is what we get, right? This is where this section really kind of picks up.
Oh, yeah.
O believers, indeed the polytheists are spiritually impure, so they should not approach the sacred mosque after this year. If you fear poverty, Allah will enrich you out of his bounty, if he wills. Surely Allah is all-knowing and wise. Excuse me. And then we get the famous one. Fight those who do not believe in Allah and the last day, nor comply with what Allah and his messenger have forbidden, nor embrace the religion of truth from among those who were given the scripture until they pay the tax, willingly submit, fully humbled. The Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, while the Christians say the Messiah is the son of Allah. Such are their baseless assertions, only parroting the words of earlier disbelievers. May Allah condemn them. How can they be deluded from the truth? They have taken their rabbis and monks, as well as the Messiah, son of Mary, as lords besides Allah, even though they were commanded to worship none but one God. There is no God worthy of worship except him. Glorified is he above what they associate with him. They wish to extinguish Allah's light with their mouth, but Allah will only allow his light to be perfected, even to the dismay of the disbelievers. And I guess we can include 33. He is the one who has sent his messenger with true guidance, good grief, and the religion of truth, making it prevail over all others, even to the dismay of the polytheists. So, there's the context.
I didn't really hear anything to change the literal meaning.
No, nothing to suggest any sort of figurative meaning. Like, at all. Like, surprisingly little. Furthermore, the dude, I'll just say it, the white dude,
the grifter,
was trying to say,
the liberal grifter.
Is that what he is? I don't know what he is.
Oh, that's what he sounds like. He sounds like either someone who's on the left or someone who's a grifter.
Yeah. The dude that spent 15 years in prison for terrorist guy, said that this was about the polytheists. And as IP correctly points out, the verse talks about the Jews and Christians, who then have to pay the tax, showing they have been fully subjugated. That is true in Islamic countries today. Christians and Jews must pay the jizya, which is the tax you must pay for being a non-Muslim in a Muslim country. So, what have we learned here?
Not to listen to the white guy.
Without lies, Islam dies. Oh, and then in case you weren't clear on it, literally the next verse is why the Jews and Christians have to be subjugated and killed. So,
let's get a laugh in.
Yes, let's get a laugh in. Okay, so some context. I am pissed at Mike Jones.
I sent this to you. I sent this to him, and he didn't know about it. He was not happy when he got it.
Look, I am a student of two things in life: religion and comedy. And the overlap there is very narrow. So when an opportunity comes along to combine said things, I cherish and relish and seek out that opportunity.
Did you watch the ones that he and Godlick been doing of the whiteboards?
Yes, I've seen the. Yeah. When these opportunities come around, they are few and far between, and one must capitalize on them. I am so beyond livid that Mike Jones thought of this before me.
You've been livid about the things that we did, and then a week after we were done, they or another major channel would do what we just did, and we're like, "Come on, we just did this," and then
and then the one time they get ahead of me is something that, all respect to Mike Jones, I haven't seen it yet. I guarantee I could have done better, because I have the cadence of Ryan George down, especially Ryan George in terms of producer guy and screenwriter guy. I have that to a T.
Dude, I've told you that Apologia is with some
right. That's all
with
well.
Some still, I need to check, but it's still open to you. I told you could do those things.
Right, but that comes with the caveat that I have to think of that. I didn't think of this until you sent me this video, and then everything made so much sense, and I had a billion ideas how to do this.
You still can.
No, but I can't. Right. I was talking with a mutual friend of ours at church, and I had told them about this, and I told him that Mike Jones did it, and he immediately knew, right? Because he knows me quite well, and he went, well, you can't do it now. I was like, I know, I can't do it now. He's like, yeah, no, the bit's already been done. Sorry, you're screwed. I was like, I know. That pissed me off so much. I was livid.
Still come with your own little sketch versions of it.
I could make sketches, but that's not the point.
I know. I'm trying to get you out of your pessimistic bubble and put you in a spot where you can be productive.
I'll come up with sketches. I can. It's not difficult. Now that I am in that frame of mindset.
But it's the fact that he did pitch meeting before you.
It's specifically pitch meeting, which pitch meeting makes up about 30% of the references I will make in day-to-day conversation. I reference pitch meeting a lot. Right? Like when I say sick, yeah, that's from pitch meeting. Oh my gosh, I'm just right. And like, of course, now I have to know how he does it, but of course now, like, making these sketches would be super easy, barely an inconvenience, right? Like, it's just, what are you doing? Oh, you're putting a sweatshirt on. It looks really weird. I think it looked like you're like holding a steering wheel or something. I was like, you can drive somewhere. You're trying to drive away from my ranting.
No, it's nice and cool in my room right now.
Oh, see, I'm cooking over here.
I have a nice new air conditioner. And I put in my window.
Yeah, but like, I can't do the bit now, which makes me so sad because I have that cadence down to a T. I have everything. I know the layout of it. I know how to do that sort of thing. Like, So I'll let him have his fair shake. Just know that even if I'm laughing, I'm crying inside.
You gotta beat him next time.
I know. Well, I mean, the other thought was like pitch meeting kind of does something similar to honest trailers, which I'm not a huge fan of them. It's just not really my style, but like that would be the only thing that I could really do there that would be in this sort of YouTube sketch comedy vein. The other thing would be to just straight up like make sketches or do it in the way that is very popular where it's a person basically talking to himself, but it's acting as two different people.
I hate those ones.
I know, but those would be like the only ones really that
Don't do
it would be a legitimate sketch or that.
I'd rather you just bit the bullet and said, "Sorry, IPM, you took the idea first, but I'm gonna run farther than you ever did and go with all the religions."
Well, like I would make so in order to make it last, I would make it on specific topics, right? So I would have like this. What I was thinking of was like, for example, for our conversation on atheist ethics, I do one pitch meeting on atheist ethics.
You still could.
And no, I can't because he already did it. The bit
No,
is
but
done.
it's different because he's doing an entire religion. You're doing pieces, so it's still slightly different.
So essentially, what you're asking me to do is take a derivation of a bit that's already been done, in conjunction with a derivation of a bit that's already been done.
Look, you might as well at this point to see how many derivations we can spawn for other people.
I could write you a pitch meeting sketch. I will not make it. As a student of comedy, I can't do it. It breaks all of the basic tenets. So, no. Unfortunately, Mike Jones has pissed in my cereal. He has stolen my dreams. How dare you?
Your dreams, you even know you had a dream about it.
Now I can't stop dreaming about it. I am continually dreaming about Ryan George, and that's not a place in life that I expected to be.
Wait, you could do the naming one. You name like when he names all the tools.
So I'd have to think about that one more. I'd have to workshop that a little bit. The issue is I'd need something to name.
Doctrines for a new religion. That's an easy one to start with.
Yes and no, right? Because the whole naming thing for Ryan George.
I'm saying for a starter.
The other thing I would do if I were to copy his, I think it'd be easier to do his First Guy series. So it'd be like the first guy to become a Muslim.
Oh yeah.
Right, the first guy to become a Buddhist or whatever. The first guy to get al-Zudded.
No, I'm not. If you do these, I'm not editing. You're doing it all by yourself.
All right. Let's do this. Let's watch my hopes and dreams die in real time.
So, you have a new false religion for me? Yes.
I gotta experience.
I know you're gonna hate his delivery. It's not quite the same.
It's not, and also Mike Jones smiling is a horrifying image.
Yeah.
So, you have a new false religion for me? Yes, sir, I do. I was thinking we could make an Arabian one this time. Oh, Arabian Night. No. Yeah, there won't be any music allowed in this religion. We're gonna have none of that. Oh, it sounds like the followers of this religion are gonna be super tense if they can't enjoy music. Exactly, sir. We want these guys on edge at all times, with zero ability to express themselves musically, just ready to commit violence at the drop of a pin. I like where this is.
Okay, so immediately off the bat, the delivery is not horrible. It's not. The issue is Mike Jones can't really slip into that goofier, happier voice, right? So you have a movie for me? Yes, sir, I do. Right? Like there's that jovialness that comes in with that you really kind of have to hit like the back of the throat.
I'm gonna be getting more impression critiques then.
Right, but it starts at the back of the throat and it's got to slide forward, right? So right, you get the so you have a movie for me, right? It comes out and it kind of elevates as it goes, right? So it slides forward. He's got the timing down right, definitely, right? The timing is great, but the pitch isn't there, right? And the pitch is everything to pitch meeting, right? The whole idea is that the either producer guy or screenwriter guy is like a little too into this idea. Like he thinks it's going to work a little too well, and it shouldn't excite him in the way that it does. And so I like the not the cadence. I don't like the cadence. I like the measure that he's speaking with.
There was a comment someone made, I read, saying very screw tape letters of him.
Yes. No, that's a good pull. That's a good pull. All right. Back to watching the light leave my eyes.
Is going, so tell me about this false religion. Well, I was thinking we could call this one Islam. Hey, that's the Arabic word for submission. Exactly, sir, not the word for peace. And this will help us because no matter what they're doing, they'll think they're submitting to God, which will help us out a lot because no matter what they're doing, whether pillaging, murdering, raping, torturing, enslaving, they'll be like, it's okay because I submit to God.
Oh, there goes TOS. That video is not getting monetized. He said a whole lot of no words within the first minute.
Yep.
Bye. Have a good time.
So I must be doing these things for him. So basically, we'll get these guys to do all sorts of super evil things, but they'll think they're good because they're submitting to God. Exactly, sir. You can make anyone do all sorts of evil if you make them believe God told them to do it. That works for us, so how are we going to get this thing started? Well,
he messed it up. He messed it up. It's not that works for us. It's that works for me. Also, the that works for me bit is not something that's actually supposed to work. It's like, for example, one of the common bits is be like, so why does that happen? Because it does. That works for me. Right? Like, so it's not, I get you're trying to get the catchphrases in there, but that's not how that's used. You volunteered for this.
plan is to go to this illiterate Arabian trader named Muhammad while he's praying in his favorite cave, and I'll demand he read his first revelation to me. But you said he was illiterate, so he won't be able to read. Oh, I know, it'll be hilarious. And when he says I can't read, I'll start choking him and demand that he read. You sure do love choking dudes. Yeah. So what's the next step of this demonic plan? So obviously this is really gonna mess him up. So when he starts telling other people,
oh, that's so bad. Yeah.
Now, see, that actually is where I would have put the "that works for me" bit.
Yeah.
Right. So it would have been, and I'll just start choking him, but that's not going to make him read. But I'll be choking him. Yeah, right. But like, how is that going to make him read? Because it will. That works for me. Right. So I did appreciate the you really like choking dudes.
It would make more sense if he kept talking about choking people before then, which he didn't. I don't remember if he did or not.
No, he didn't. But true. But also, I think that just kind of works as a what the heck moment.
Yeah.
Because Ryan has stated in the past when he's editing the scripts, he looks for like he'll just write out his basic thoughts in the movie, and then he'll put in all the plot and stuff, and then he'll be like, all right, now I got to look for places where I can just throw in a "what did you just say to me" phrase, right? And so he's like, and those are where I really can throw in the catchphrases. So I do appreciate the "what did you just say to me?" Boy, you really like choking dudes. Come again?
That a demon attacked him in a cave. We'll whisper in their ears that maybe that was an angel and you're a prophet. Wow. But then if he gets really depressed and tries to hurl himself off a cliff, I'll appear to him again and be like, I'm the angel Gabriel. Oh, the angels hate it when we pretend to be them. They sure do.
Okay, so the wow. The pause wasn't long enough. The whole bit, and he actually does a bit on this within pitch meeting for one of the special episodes, was he has like a solid like 90-second pause between the penultimate and the ultimate wow. It was like wow. 90 seconds of silence. Wow. Right? Because the whole thing is you pause before the final wow. So it's wow. And he just went, wow. It's like, that doesn't do the bit right. It was a good placement, but you need better delivery.
Sir, keep in mind we're probably going to be in big trouble for this on Judgment Day. Gonna get a real pounding for this. Oh, getting a pounding by a bunch of strong beings is tight. Yeah, and our prophet will think that is...
No, don't stop it. Let me finish.
...as well one night in the desert. What? So...
Replay that.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. That was good.
I need to hear that again.
Okay.
I'll appear to him again and be like, I'm the angel Gabriel. Oh, the angels hate it when we pretend to be them. They sure do, sir. Keep in mind we're probably going to be in big trouble for this on Judgment Day. Gonna get a real pounding for this. Oh, getting a pounding by a bunch of strong beings is tight. Yeah, and our prophet will think that as well one night in the desert. What? So anyway, after that...
All right, that was perfect. That was the perfect delivery right there. Yep.
Well, all of that is like, you can't go wrong there.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, he even gets the face. He gets the down slightly away. Oh, getting pounded by strong beings is tight. Yeah, no, he gets, that was perfect. Work of art there, Mike Jones. Work of art.
We'll just start feeding him a bunch of revelations. We'll tell him that he should believe in God and that Jesus was a prophet, but he didn't die and atone for sins, and he's not the Son of God. So basically, keep the superficial stuff of our enemy's religion, but change the important stuff. Exactly, sir. This way they'll think they're an Abrahamic religion, but without any of the stuff in Christianity that will actually save them. But we have to make sure we don't put too much emphasis on our enemy. Otherwise, the followers of this religion will be too attracted to the way he lived. Yeah, so I was thinking we'll make Muhammad their pattern of conduct. That way they imitate him and not our enemy. Well, we gotta make sure he does some pretty evil stuff to assure his followers remain evil and don't follow the enemy. Exactly. We'll make sure that slavery is allowed and that Muhammad owns a ton of slaves. Oh, a very rude Muhammad. Yeah, and some of them will be his...
He can play that bit one of two ways. The very rude. He played it the more conservative. I would have personally gone with probably a little more grandiose, but right, because sometimes Ron will go, "Oh, a very rude." Like, let's use the example, a very rude Muhammad. Right, so he plays it that way. But you can also go, "Oh, a very rude Muhammad," which again kind of plays into that joviality that Mike is again lacking. But I doubt he has watched
joviality
as much
in his life.
as I have. I meant he hadn't watched that much pitch meeting.
No.
Although true, Mike Jones does not strike me as the jovial type necessarily.
sex slaves. Oh, now we're talking. We'll have him torture and murder people, give his followers permission to beat their wives, and have their own sex slaves. We'll let him have multiple wives, have him say things like women are deficient in mind, and constantly hating on the Jews and Christians. Oh boy. And we'll get him a child bride.
Did he just flip off?
A what? A child bride, sir. A little girl. A little 6-year-old girl for him to marry and play with. Listen, I know I'm the devil and all, but a child bride? It sounds like we're going too far. People are surely going to know this is demonic if we say they can marry children. Well, we got to make sure we corrupt the youth. It's kind of our thing. Oh, I don't know. It sounds like we're going too far. Are we really that evil? Listen, sir, I'm going to need you to get all the way off my back about the child marriage thing. It's happening. This Muhammad guy really wants a child bride. Well, if he's really that messed up, we should probably get him a child bride. Oh, you have no idea how messed up he is. He's going to...
I appreciate the I need you to get all the way off my back about. Yeah, no, that's a good use of it.
I'm pretty sure he flipped off the camera when he moved his glasses up.
Did he?
I think he only used his middle finger.
This is demonic if we say they can marry children. Well, we got to make sure we devil and all, but a child bride? It sounds like we're going too far. People are surely going to know this is demonic if we say they can marry children. Well, we got to make sure we corrupt the youth. It's kind of our thing. Oh, I don't know. It sounds too... are deficient in mind and constantly hating on the Jews and Christians. Oh boy. And we'll get him a child bride.
Never mind. Okay. I thought
that was the index finger. We were on for nothing.
It looked like
listen, sir, I'm going to need you to get all the way off my back about the...
He doesn't draw out the all enough, though. It's... Okay, sir, I'm going to need you to get all the way off my back about this. Like, I appreciate the first effort, but you can do better, Mike. You can watch 400 episodes of Pitch Meeting like I have.
I have gone through all that shit at one point.
Child marriage thing. It's happening. This Muhammad guy really wants a child bride. Well, if he's really that messed up, we should probably get him a child bride. Oh, you have no idea how messed up he is. He's going to tell his followers they'll be deflowering underage virgins in eternity because that's paradise for him. Just constantly climbing on top of little girls. Oh, I can assure you that is not going to happen. We got to make sure we keep telling this Muhammad guy he's on the right track because surely his conscience is going to be weighing on him. Yeah, so I'll just keep telling him things like, you have such an outstanding character, Muhammad. You're not possessed by a demon. Everyone should be like you and submit to all your decisions. You're the pattern of conduct, even though you have a child bride. That'll work. Muhammad will feel super special if we're the little voices whispering in his head. But how are we going to get people to convert to this new religion? What sort of miracles were you thinking of doing? Yeah, so that's one thing I was worried about. If people already suspect he's demon-possessed, we should probably not unleash our demonic powers through him. That often results in some pretty clear signs the miracles are demonic and not of God. I don't think we're gonna get this new religion going if it's just some guy preaching monotheism. We gotta put some power behind it. Yeah, so I was thinking when people start asking for miracles, we'll just be like, hey, stop asking for miracles. That doesn't work in convincing anyone. Look at this beautiful Arabic poetry. Isn't that miraculous enough? And you think that'll work? I don't know. Well, okay then. But it's gonna be hard to get...
No! No! The well, okay then is not a transition to the next sentence. It's meant to be its own bit. It's a bit within a bit, right? Of the I don't know, and then sometimes you'll get it fair enough, or well, okay then. Right? It's supposed to be. It's the bit within the bit. It's bitception. The joke really is that he doesn't know, right? He has no idea of how this is going to work. Okay, fair enough. Right? Like, fair enough. Or, well, okay then, right? It's supposed to tack on the fact that him not knowing how it works should be a red flag, and it isn't. Right? So there's the bit of he has no idea how this works, and then the actual joke comes in that it's fine. The producer guy doesn't actually care. So, like, even my phone agrees. That hurt.
People to convert to this new religion.
I just noticed the flail on the shelf.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I didn't notice that until this point.
If there's no miracles being performed, actually, it's going to be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, we'll just promise them endless fighting and that they'll get to share in the spoils of war, including the captives. But if they die, they'll go to heaven where they'll deflower virgins for eternity. Really playing on the whole lust and greed thing, aren't we? We sure are, sir. We want these guys to not only be violent, but also lustful and greedy. All the things that get them down here. But what about the women? The what? The women. What sinful rewards are we offering them? Oh! Nothing. Well, okay then. Yeah, I figured we'll just make this
See,
new...
that was a good, well, okay then. The first one should have been a fair enough. And that one should have been, well, okay then. Right? Like that was a much better place, well, okay then.
He also got the
but
pause
also
pretty
now,
well.
He did. But now he's also reused a bit. You can do better, Michael. I believe in you.
He's not a comedian, though. This is like something newer.
He's not. So let people who do comedy do it.
You don't even do comedy.
I study comedy.
You don't do it.
Josh, how many of the videos have I put out on like live streams where I am just doing comedic relief? Yeah, that's
Depends on the video.
Religion super hateful towards women. So the men use fear and threats of violence to keep them in line, even though they'll think they're going to a heaven where they'll watch their husbands deflower virgins for eternity. Yeah, that does sound like something that's gonna bother them. Oh, whoops. Whoopsie. But seriously, we'll have to keep the women in line for sure. Yeah, we'll just make the men super evil so they keep the babes in line. We'll even make them wear tents for clothing so they lose all sense of humanity. No one will ever see them smile or look happy. They'll just really feel like nothing after a while. I do hate looking at the image of God. Let's make sure they're covered from head to toe. I'll write that one down now, sir. But I'm still not sure if this is enough to get people to leave Christianity. If we're not doing demonic miracles, we're not going to get them to follow this Muhammad guy. Well, I was thinking we'll just tell them that we're confirming their scriptures. That way they don't think they're leaving the enemy's religion. They're just following a new prophet in line with the old ones. You think that'll work? Well, most people are still illiterate, and the printing press is probably centuries away. So most people in the deserts of Arabia are not going to be able to check the prior scriptures. So we can just say we're confirming them when we really aren't. Oh, it sounds like we're going to be the best of deceivers. Yeah, we'll have Muhammad going around saying, guys, just believe I'm a prophet. I'm confirming your Jewish and Christian scriptures. And what happens if they actually check and see that Muhammad is not in line with their scriptures? Well, because we're making these Muslims so violent and angry, we'll just use power and threats to suppress any of that once we have them take over. It'll be years before anyone can piece this false religion together. But what happens when they do? Well, remember, sir, everything we're doing is just an attempt to delay Judgment Day. Our fate is inevitable, but this should give us a few more centuries. Good point. I guess we better hope it takes a while before people discover the Quran isn't actually confirming the Jewish and Christian scriptures. Yeah, because then we're screwed when that happens. So screwed. Hey, get over here. Muhammad is telling his tribe he can worship 3 goddesses in addition to me. Yeah, it looks like he's really trying to win them over. I'll go up and tell him that's not what we want. Hey, to really mess with him, tell him those are the satanic verses. Oh, that's hilarious. On it. Hopefully his followers forget this. We wouldn't want this coming back to bite us.
Hi, this is Michael Jones.
Joshua.
Yeah.
What is he missing?
Oh, geez, it's been a long time since I watched Pitch Meeting. Pitch Meeting.
It's the same. It's the most famous slogan on the channel.
I don't remember. It's been like 3 years.
Tell you what, I'm gonna private message you a question to ask me.
Okay. No.
No. I would like you to ask me.
Would it be difficult to do this better?
No, super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, he did that one.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Where?
Earlier, but he just didn't deliver it the way you would have wanted him to.
I missed it entirely. I didn't see that at all.
No, he said it.
I was waiting for it. I was watching that whole time specifically for that moment. I don't think he did it.
I'm fairly certain he did.
I will have to watch the video a second time. Not
maybe I'm going crazy. I'm pretty sure he said it.
I will watch the video a second time, not on stream. I am almost willing to put money on the fact that he didn't say it. Regardless, while decently funny, there's no way it could have matched what I was hoping for. But it fell short of what I at least expected. If you're going
at first,
I should have thought of it first. You were very right. For that, I blame myself. Do the outro. I can't right now.
Thank you for joining us, guys. Down below for YouTube, we have our Discord link if you want to join us for that. Instagram should be in the bio. Again, if it's for some reason not working Instagram, just send us a DM and I'll get it to you. We thank you for joining us. We should be streaming again Thursday, Lord willing. Actually, let me see. I'll make the official thing, but I think let me see what the official topic is Thursday. We made a schedule. We will also be finally posting some more videos. Starting tomorrow and more towards next week, we'll start having our schedule back up and running. Now that I'm back and can do a lot more editing again, as well as getting some other things done. We're looking at doing how Islam ruined the Middle East on Tuesday, I guess, and on Thursday, I mean. And so join our Discord, like and subscribe, hit the bell. We will be posting stuff again. Let us know what kind of things you want us to be doing. You can let us know in the comments. It'd be easy to get a hold of us on Discord, though. If you have other comedy ideas you want to send Caleb's way before any of the major apologetic channels will beat him to it, so let him know soon, or try to tell them so they can continue to piss him off and make him sad. With all that said, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you guys again Thursday, Lord willing.
Yeah. Council in session. Weighing every word like gold. From the manger to the throne, same person, not a switch, not a mask, that's certain. One Lord, one face, one name, Son of God, Son of Man, unchanged. Perfect in divinity, say that. Perfect in humanity, play back. True God, true man, one Christ, not a myth, not half, full life, begotten for ages. Blazing, born in time from a virgin, amazing, like us in all things. That's flesh, sin apart though. Clean breath, same person they followed in Galilee. Same person who spoke in eternity. Not a blend, not a phase, not parts. One hypostasis, one heart. Two natures, one Christ, one Lord. Unmixed, unchanged in the light of be a prophet, he don't fit inside those boxes you draw. He's the word that fulfills every law. Not confused like colors that smear, not split like friends disappear. Distinct what is his as a man, and what is his as I am. He got hungry, he slept, he wept, yet the universe held as he stepped. He was nailed, he bled, he died, yet the author of life still alive. So we speak what the elders confess. From the west and the east, one faith, one breath. Guard the mystery, keep that flame. Same Jesus, yesterday, today. Two natures, one Christ, one Lord. Unmixed, unchanged in the light of his glory. Yeah, undivided, unseparated. Yeah, one person, one story. Two natures, one Christ. Say King, God and man in a holy harmony. What he is, what he became, still the same. Oh yeah, through the ages of ages. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Not another savior on the shelf. He bridges God to us to himself. If he ain't God, we're still in chains. If he ain't man, he can't feel our pain. So I rest in the creed they wrote, every careful phrase, every note. Hold that line, don't twist, don't drift. In this one Lord, all things fit. Two natures, one Christ.